I swear I'm gonna make a t-shirt one day that says, well, that took longer than I thought. Gonna do a little bit of insulation work today over in the boys' Shottage, and right now it's about 37 degrees. I'd love to be able to have some more time that we could spend out here at the property, but we can't do it right now because of the fact that the boys have like no insulation inside, and it gets quite cold in there. Before I get started, I got to move a little bit of this stuff over to the other side. Got to have a nice clear path for the insulation to be rolled out so that I can cut it easily and throw it up into the walls. That fire smells good. I better go check on it. For today's lunch, we're gonna actually just do a grilled ham and cheese sandwich. There's nothing special to it. It's just gonna be like when we used to live down in Alabama, we had a barbecue place that we used to go to. I think it was called Millbrook Smokehouse Barbecue, and the boys would always get a grilled cheese sandwich from there, and we would always seem to find a way that Jen and I would be able to finish off their sandwich for them. Probably because it was one of the best ways that I've ever seen of making a grilled cheese sandwich. And essentially all they do is just use a hamburger bun, but they turn the insides to the outside. So I'm gonna give that a try today on the campfire. Of course, you got to slather it with butter. Ooh, that looks golden right there. I'll flip it back over for just a little bit longer though. I think for today, I'm actually going to take a walk down to the water and eat down there. That's good. It's always so quiet out here. That's what's amazing. One of the things that we love is that you can just be out here and relax a whole lot and not worry about what's going on at home. Just take a moment, just chill. Of course, I say that when I'm about ready to go up there and start insulating, which is anything but chill. All right, guys, I'm ready to get started on the insulation here. What I'm going to do is focus on the roof first. And so the first thing I had to do is actually put the baffles in. All right, so for the baffles that I got, these are, I think, 22-inch baffles, but then what they have is they have a perforation right down through here. And what that allows me to do is just reduce it to, I want to say approximately 14 inches or something like that. And these bays in here are, they're 16 inches on center. So of course I have to try to go something less than that, which I think the standard width is 14.5 inches between studs when they're at 16 on center. All right, remember I did say that we were semi off grid here, so that means that we're on electric. And what that means I'm going to be able to do today is use the DeWalt stapler so that this can go just a little bit quicker. So just as a little bit of an explanation, what I'm trying to do is actually get the baffle to go just up over the top of the top plate and towards the soffit to make sure that there's enough airflow that can get up and through the baffle up to the ridge cap, but without the insulation blocking that airflow. So this is certainly not a how-to video. This is more like a how Bill's doing it kind of video. One of the things I forgot to account for before when I was figuring out the number of baffles that I have to use was the amount of how far down the insulation comes, because it actually, the R30 insulation that I'm going to put in comes to right about this area right here. So of course that the baffle needs to be well above that to allow for that airflow to continue on through. So now I got to figure out how much extra I need for the baffles. So another tool that I think I found was the most helpful for the entire insulation project was to actually buy a nice 14-inch bread knife, and it cuts through insulation almost like butter, and it's also a good tool to have in handy for cutting through these baffles. I actually just found if I cut the baffles exactly in half, because they're 48-inch baffles, I can go with 24 inches and it'll work perfectly for each of the bays that's up there and save me a lot of material. Okay, certainly I'm not going to be using Jen's really good bread knife from Cutco or anything like that. That's why I bought a cheap one. So I think I was watching Trey Runs Wild, and Terry over there was doing a project very similar to this, where he had put up insulation at first, and then I want to say that he put a vapor barrier over the top of that. And months later, he experienced a problem with mildew. So I'm hoping that by going through this process right here, by putting the baffles in to allow for that airflow, we might be able to take care of that problem. He also noted that he had very green wood that was used on the building of the shed that he bought. But in this case, they were just using dimensional lumber, I think, from a locally sourced area. And so hopefully we won't have the moisture issues like he did. But I don't know. Right now it's just a fingers crossed kind of thing. Probably not the wisest thing for me to do, but put my foot on a hinge for balance. Okay, so I think that's it for all the short side over here. All these bays are done, so I think I'm pretty much ready to start actually putting in the roof insulation now. One of the things that I found when I was researching like how to put in insulation, because I had never done this before, a little trick that somebody was saying was to actually slice into the side of the bag towards the open end here. Do that on each side. And then turn the bag, slightly roll it down, Turn the bag upside down and pull it off like a trash bag. Alright guys, so this is one of those areas where I found when I first started doing the work, I was like, I don't really need a mask, or maybe I just need one of those COVID masks that's nice, thin cloth or something like that. While that was helpful, it wasn't nearly as helpful as going out and getting one of these. So I found that I think this is this is one of those N95 masks. I got a 5-pack of it for like I think it was like $20 or something like that. So definitely a helpful thing that I found, as well as you got to make sure that you're working with gloves. And this is where that bread knife comes in handy. So these are all the tools I think I should need besides the tape measure, and now I'm ready to get going. Ooh, that'll be fun. So earlier I mentioned that I was putting up some R30 insulation in here. This is the R30, and it's going to go in the part of the ceiling that's flat across, and it has the most amount of space up there, because I think it's meant to go into I want to say a 2x8 or a 2x10 bay, and so there should be enough room up here for that. And then on the sides, I'm going to end up using R15. So on this bay, I'm going to have a little bit of an obstacle in the way. There's a light box that I have to be able to cut the insulation around. So I'll show you how to do that here in just a second. All right, for this, what I've done is I've stapled it in over here, and now I came to the light, which is right about here. Of course, I'm doing this with the power on, but what I'm going to try to do is notch out the insulation around the box. Making sure to look out for any of the wires. And I want to go clear of the top of the box, but not by too much. Okay, there's a wire right there. All right, that's not a perfect fit, but I think it'll work for us. All right, so I have another obstacle that I have to work around. In this case, it's a ceiling fan support brace. And so what I'm going to do for that one is just measure from the short end and figure out how much I need to, or where I need to cut the insulation. And then I'll estimate cutting the hole around it so that the insulation will stay nice and tight around the bar, but then be free of the light fixture itself. All right, so it's right at 24 inches for the middle of the bar. And then the light fixture is from 21.5 to 26 inches. I need to cut this bat down to 35.5 inches. And so what I'm going to need for that is the bread knife, as well as a level or something with a nice straight edge that's kind of got a tall part to it, so that you can actually press down on the insulation and make it so that it's super easy to cut. Let me show you how it's done. It's just that easy. All right, so we're done with that half of the ceiling, and next time, so I won't be able to get to the rest of the project today, unfortunately. So what I'll have to do on the next episode is come in here. I'm going to try to finish out the rest of the ceiling and then get started on the walls. So hopefully you enjoyed what you actually saw today, learned maybe a little something. Every once in a while, I'm going to throw out a name of a channel maybe. For example, today I talked about Trey Runs Wild, Terry over there. And then in the past, I've talked about Laura and Jay on JLG, or Off Grid with JLG Woodscapes. The reason why I mention those guys is because I use them as a constant source of motivation throughout the winter. When I was not over here able to work, maybe because it was too cold, because I didn't have insulation or something like that. And so I really want to be able to turn people to those channels, because they were a super awesome project that was going on, something that kept me motivated, something that I hope that maybe one day I'll be able to do for somebody else. So anyways, go check those guys out. Well, guys, once again, that took longer than I thought. But I hope that you enjoyed what you watched today. And if you did, please consider liking and subscribing. Again, that helps out the channel a whole lot. Gives me some pretty good feedback whether or not this is the kind of content that you guys like. Again, don't be afraid to drop something in the comment below. And I hope you all have a great day.